So, welcome to everyone who's joined. My name's Glenda Parmenter. I'm the chair of the Bridge New South Wales Clubs and Community Committee. Um, this webinar is designed to address a common roadblock that we have to joining up to MyABF, which is a fantastic resource and tool for us to use. So we're trying to address that there is some impediments to actually signing up. You'll be walked through the how to sign up process and also how to register for an event. I know from talking to a number of Congress conveners and club committee members that a problem they have is if they run a Congress, for example, they have to end up manually signing up all, or at least half the people who are coming to their Congress, particularly small Congresses, and this seems to be a problem. So this is for not only your information, but for you to help other people sign up and make your life a bit easier. The webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be posted on the Bridge New South website so that you can review it later, and so also you can pass it on to other people who weren't able to attend. You can ask questions at the end, I think. Does that suit you, Julian?
Yeah, I mean, there's not that many people here, so I mean, if you do have something in between, then feel free to chip in. I mean, there's probably two or three distinct parts to this. One is the signing up process, and then the other is sort of entering an event process. So there's sort of a natural break, if you like, between those two. Um, but
Okay.
yeah, so feel
So,
free to chip in if you need.
all right, good. And on that note, I'd like to introduce Julian Foster. I'm sure everybody knows Julian. He's done huge amounts of work on the MyABF platform, which is a fantastic tool. And what we're going to be talking about tonight is just a small aspect of the services and the capability of that tool. So I'll hand over to you, Julian.
Okay, thank you. Let me reshare my screen. Um, eh, okay, so. Right. So hopefully people can see that broadly sort of red and white screen again.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I've been around since my ABF first started, and well, in fact, long before that as well. But so yeah, it's sort of come a long way. It was first launched in about late 2020. It initially did focus very much on purely event entries because it was replacing a previous system. But subsequent to that, it's gone much further, and now there are over 50 clubs around the country using it for regular table money payments, for club duplicate sessions, which is an option. There are clubs using it to help send emails out to their members, and there are clubs using it for managing their membership in total as well. But anyway, so for this purposes of here, what I'm going to do is walk you through the process, firstly, as you as an individual would go through. Many of you here probably already have. But also, yeah, then, as Glenda said, some clubs have members or some congresses have people who haven't yet signed up. And it is possible to sign up for somebody else, but you do need an email to do that. So what I'm going to do, I'm operating here in one of our test sites. So MyABF's got a couple of sort of test areas that I spend a fair bit of time playing around in. And so in that environment, there are not many users set up. So I'm going to set up, some of you may know my regular bridge partner is a guy called David Weston. I'm going to pretend that we're going to sign him up because I'm already signed up in this one, but he isn't. So anyway, step one, if we step back a second, if we go to the main, how do you find this page in the first place? If you go to the main ABF website, you've got up in the far right-hand corner up here, you've got a MyABF link. And also down on the right-hand side here, you've got a login to MyABF as well. So those are sort of the initial probably places you can come to attempt to go into it. When you do that, it will take you initially, if you're not already logged in, to a page that looks a bit like this. And there are some things here, like you can view a calendar and you can do a few things without being logged into MyABF in the first place. But in order to actually enter events, make payments, things like that, you do need to have a login. So it's a one-off step to do that. And it's done through this sign up here. So if I click sign up, that takes me to this page. And everything in MyABF tends to revolve around the ABF number. So what I'm going to do is I'm just putting in, obviously, if you're doing it yourself, it would be your own ABF number. I've put in Dave's here, and it's already found his name, because what it does behind the scenes is it goes off and looks at the Masterpoint Center website where everyone at the moment is already set up. So it's found his name from there. And what we then need to do, oh, this is my browser being clever, so we'll skip that. So this is what it should look like when you either sign up yourself or you attempt to sign up for somebody else. So it will find the name. You now need to do two things. You need to set an email address for yourself or the person. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just put in MyABF email address here. You would obviously be putting in your own email here. And you then also set up a password. So this is the initial sign up process. Normally this would take less than a minute. It's a one-off process. You need to create a password. It can be pretty much anything you want it to be. The only thing is it can't be your ABF number. And it has to be, I think, at least 7 characters long. That's about the only constraints. We don't have all of this nonsense that some places have these days where you have to have uppercase, lowercase, special characters, and God knows what else, because we're not Fort Knox here. So you create a password, and then you click the sign up button. When I do that, I get an email confirmation has been sent. If it doesn't arrive, check spam, blah, blah, blah. I'm also, this save password thing that you're seeing on the right here, this is nothing to do with MyABF. This is actually the web browser. I'm using Chrome here. That's one of the common web browsers. There's obviously assorted other ones, or you might be doing this on a laptop or a phone as well. I won't bother with that for now. So what that's telling me is that an email has been sent. And that's the second part of this process where you need to just confirm that email to confirm that the account is valid. So if I go across to my ABF email address here, and you'll notice I've got one here. There we go. Hi, David. Thank you for signing up. Please click on the link below to activate your account. That's the email you're looking for that should be sent to you once you've set this up. And once you click activate account, that basically just confirms that, yes, the email does exist. It is valid. It's not some random spam robot trying to sign up for you. And you can log in using your ABF number or your email address. So if I was to click, it says we will take you to complete your profile in, well, we're counting down. There we go. So it's now taken me in. It's effectively got my account active. Now, what's happened here is it's doing what we call a little tour. So you can actually use this to have a look around, and it'll tell you the various aspects of this screen. You can always click out of that if you're not interested. If we just step through that briefly, it'll highlight different bits of the screen. It'll say who I am. Then you can put in additional details. So what it does to start with, it just populates the email address that we set up and the name that it got from the Masterpoint Center. And your ABF number behind here is effectively locked. You can't touch that. And that's because every MyABF account revolves around an ABF number, not your email address, your ABF number. That's the unique feature of every MyABF account. So you can add additional things in here. So you can put your date of birth in, you can put mobile number, stuff like that. So there's the email. And as we'll see when we log in later, you can log in using your email address. But it's much easier. And what I would always recommend is log in using your ABF number, simply because it's far shorter. If we step through, there's a mobile number we can put in if we want to. Their name. So say it initially gets your name from your ABF record in the Masterpoint Center website, but you can edit your name here if you want to. So if you prefer to be known by somebody else or something else, then you can amend that here. You can put the BBO username in. That's not really used for very much yet, but if you do have a BBO user account, then you can put that in your profile here. Date of birth is used for things like youth discounts. So there are some youth players that would need to put that in. In future, we may use it for validating other age-based events like a seniors event or something. We don't currently do that, but you can put that in here. And then you've got this update profile button that would cause that to change. Over here, if you want to, you can upload a photo and you can put a few notes about yourself. You don't have to do any of this, but you can if you wish. Let's just get through. And then there's also this concept of what we have called teammates. Teammates is really just people you play with regularly. And by putting other people here, it'll make it a little bit easier when you come to do an entry later. We'll skip past that. You can also, from this page, if you are already logged in and you want to change your password, you can do so from here. There are other ways of doing that as well, we'll talk about later. So that's just a quick tour that it can take you through when you first sign up, if you're not familiar with any of this. And there's a couple of other ones as well around your dashboard and what we call bridge credits, which is just, bridge credits is just money. It's just online payment. But we didn't have to do any of that. That was just sort of showing you through. So this is in your profile page and you are now logged in to MyABF. If I click up the left here, it'll show me my homepage, if you like. So we've all had one of these. And this is where we would subsequently start doing various things. What I'll do just temporarily, though, I'm going to log out just to show you what it looks like to log back in later. So if I log out, I'm back on this page. And now if I want to log in, I can either go directly from the ABF page or I can come here, I click login and I get to this screen. So let me just skip out of that. So on this MyABF login screen, you'll notice here it says ABF number or email. So that's why I said just now, you can log in using your email address if you want to. Personally, I would always just use my ABF number because you're typing in 5, 6, or 7 digits as opposed to 30 something, whatever characters an email address is. Then the password that we set up and log in. You might have noticed when I did that on the right, I had a whole load of crap coming up. That again was my web browser trying to be, quote, helpful and offering to remember passwords and things for me. That can be great. It can be a pain in the ass. But your web browser can often sort of save a lot of details for you so that when you log in future, you won't need to necessarily remember the password each time. So once you're logged in, that's it. So the process of signing up was a one-off process. What you do need, though, is access to the an email address to do it. So signing up yourself is a one-off step. You can, and some Congress organizers or club organizers do this, you can sign up for other people to sort of help them. What I would say, though, if you do that, you obviously need to give it an email address that you have access to be able to do that. And what some clubs or organizers do is that they have like a sort of a generic email address or something that they have access to, and they can help sign up people, perhaps people that either just genuinely don't have an email address. There aren't that many people like that anymore, but there certainly are some. or someone, that's sort of just, not comfortable doing it on a computer. So, the 95-year-old that's never had an email address, etc., etc. So you can do it for somebody else. What I would say, though, is once you've logged in, where are we? Yeah, so on this one. So once you are logged in, that profile page that we were on, you can always get back to it via this little person icon up the top right of your dashboard. So that's where you have your own profile in your settings page. So this is your profile page, which is the information. So you can always get back to it and make updates to it there. So what I would say is if you are signing up for somebody else, what often happens is that you've used some generic email address to do it, and that got them signed up to start with. That might be fine, but 6 months later, when they're a bit more familiar with all of this and they want to log in and do something for themselves, invariably what happens, and I see the end of this on the MyABF help desk, what happens is that they try to log in. They don't know their password, of course, because perhaps the club organizer or the tournament set it up for them. So they want to reset their password. Now, when you want to reset your password, you do have to put in an email address because that's what the system is going to use to try and match that this is a genuine person doing it. It's not some spam robot. They'll probably type their email address in. But of course, if you as the club organizer put yours or the club's or something, then it's not going to match those things up. So what we would ask is if you do set accounts up for other people, that's really helpful, but help them put their email address in afterwards. So that then later on, if they want to do something in the system, their email address is actually there and then they can set up, they can change details, etc. Because otherwise, invariably, what happens is that they say, I'm trying to reset my password. The system won't send me an email to do that, blah, blah, blah. And of course, the system won't because it hasn't got that email address anywhere in the system at all because you didn't put it in. So if you do set up for other people, then it's much more helpful to everyone if you put their email address in later, even if you didn't have access to it right at the start. And then later on, it makes things a bit easier for everyone. Okay, so we've signed up. We are in. So the purpose of this isn't really to take you through all of MyABF because that would take us far longer than I suspect most of you want to spend. So what we'll do is we'll focus just on event entries and stuff like that. So there is a calendar in MyABF. Now, what I'm going to do at this point, this is a dummy sort of test site. What I'm going to do temporarily is switch across to the live MyABF site because that's got all the real congresses in, of course, and we can see how you can have a look at that overall calendar. So if I switch across to this one, so this looks exactly the same, but this is the live MyABF site today. And that's me logged into it. Hi, Julian, with my own dashboard here. And you'll see here, I've got a few events over here that I'm set up to have a look at, and we'll come back and look at that in a moment. But if we go to this calendar, you'll see there's an awful lot of stuff here. There's some events that started a while ago that are still running, and there's stuff September, October, blah, blah, blah. But you'll see this has got stuff from clubs and states all over the country. It's got club level events, state level events, national level events. It's got things that actually aren't necessarily bridge events at all, because it's quite possible to list, I don't know, workshops, lessons, even some congresses have sort of set dinners up and things that they just want people to register for. So this is quite a lot of stuff, and you want to be able to filter this down to just focus on what you're interested in, really. And there's a number of ways you can do that. So if we look along the top here, you've got state, event type, and format. State means I can narrow it down. So if I'm interested in New South Wales, I can immediately just go to New South Wales things instead. I might be just wanting to look at, I don't know, national events, club congresses, something like that. So if I was to say club congress, now the event type here, it's only looking at club congresses. So it's just narrowing it down. I can also have a look. If I like face-to-face bridge, but I hate online bridge, I can focus on events that are face-to-face. And that format over here will actually say whether it's face-to-face or online. If I go back to that temporarily, we'll see we've got things, but there are some here that are online events as well. So you can filter by the type of event as well. And something that you could also do is you can save that. So if you want to focus on club congresses in the future for New South Wales only, if I click over here, save filters, what that's going to do is the next time I come back to this page, so let's just go back to, let's say, my dashboard. Now we come back to the calendar again. You'll note this time it's remembered what we asked it to do. So it's looking at New South Wales events. It's looking at the club level events. I can change those at any point. I can clear them temporarily, and that'll take us back to look at everything if I wanted to. Or I can delete them completely. So if I do want to just always look at everything, I can do that. But most of the time you want to just cut this down a bit so you don't have everything from the whole country sitting there. So then you can have a look at what you're interested in. You can also search. So if I was, I don't know, let's say North Shore Bridge Club's quite a big bridge club, at least in Sydney over here. I could, if I started typing that in, it will narrow down to events that one runs. So you might want to just put your own club if you're interested in primarily in your club events, and then that'll narrow it down still further to show you what's there. So that's a way you can set up and save various different filters to cut down the stuff from all over the country. Okay, so and that's how you save them and delete them. So what I might do now, unless anyone has any questions at this point, what I might do now is I might flip back again into our test event, into our test area, and I will just take you through what doing an entry would actually look like, because I don't want to enter a live event here, but I have got some sort of test ones. So if I go back, or is this one, isn't it? Yes. So this is our dummy event or dummy test area that we were using just now. So if I want to enter an event, if I click on that, what happens is once an event's been created, and this is something that a tournament organizer would do. Can I enlarge the screen? Maybe. Is that any better? So you can look at a tournament on this calendar, and every tournament has its own sort of little mini page that, as a tournament organizer, you've got a different area that you can set all this stuff up in. As a player, you then come and see the different things on there, and you've got a shortcut that you can just jump to the program of events if you wanted to. And you've got an enter button here. So you can then enter an event. When you're entering, I'll try and dispel a few myths that you may hear around the traps at this point. So Myth number one that you might hear is that, oh, well, when I enter, I have to pay for me, my partner, or my whole team. No, you don't. When you create an entry, you come up as a player here, and then you can put in your partner, or if you don't know yet who your partner is going to be, you can put TBA. And when you do that, there is this also column here called payment method. It will default to what we call MyBridge credits. MyBridge credits, it's nothing particularly fancy or adventurous. Bridge credits is just meaning paying online. And bridge credits is just a term for online payment, really. We all have a bridge credits account and we can put money into it. But when I do that here, the payment method, it's assuming that I'm going to pay my bridge credits for everyone in the entry. But if I don't want to do that, I've got varying different options here. Now, what you see here is going to very much depend on the person who set this tournament up. They decide, or the club, therefore, will decide what different payment methods they're going to accept. Bridge credits is like sort of the default, so it's sort of online payment. Most tournaments will still accept like a bank transfer. Some will still be doing cash on the day. But down at the bottom here, you've got one that says here, ask them to pay. That isn't really a payment method, obviously. But what that's basically saying is, I don't want to pay for everybody. So that moved that money across to this pending column, and the pay now here is just going to be for me now. So you don't have to pay for everyone, despite what some people might claim. You can always pay for yourself, and you can then get other people to, so you can get other people can then organize their own payment if they wish to. So it's entirely up to you. Like before MyABF existed, what we found was that most people would just, one person would pay and they would pay, and then the players would just sort it out amongst themselves. But as MyABF's become a bit more prevalent and it makes it quite easy to just do it yourself and get other people to pay for their own, that's starting to become more common as well. So it's totally up to you how you want to do it. This one is going to I'm going to pay here, and my partner, whoever that's going to be later, will pay themselves. And I have some options here to confirm and do that straight away, or I can save and pay it later if I wish to. So, as I say, myth number one was I always have to pay for everybody, which isn't true. You don't. Myth number two you might hear floating around is that I have to put money into my account before I can pay for anything. Again, no, you don't, because if I just click confirm and pay now at this stage, let's see what happens. It takes me to a card payment screen right now, and I can put in card details and pay at this point. So this screen that you're seeing here is, even though it might look like it's sitting within MyABF, this actually is being generated by something called Stripe. Now, Stripe is like, I don't know, PayPal is probably one you may have heard of as well. It's a large sort of international online payment thing, and it manages all the card details. So we, the ABF, do never see your credit card details. We certainly don't ever save them. We can't even see them. Because, of course, you just want this being handled securely through an online payment provider, and that's what this is doing. So if you do type your card details in at this stage, me, Julian, somebody at the ABF, we don't ever see that, and we have nothing to do with it. But what it means is that you can then put details in at this stage and make a payment, and that will just pay for your entry at this stage. I'll cancel. I won't actually do that at this point. I'll cancel it, but it means you don't actually see, or we don't see card details for you, but you can make a payment that way. Okay. Let me just once again flip back to my live site. So this is myself. And if I go back to my home page, and you'll see here, I've actually made some entries here. And so when you've done when you do an entry, you can see it in your upcoming events. And there's one here, the Spring Nationals, that's coming up. Let me just click on that one. So that's showing an entry, and I've already paid. If, however, I go to this other one, the Summer Festival for next year, that one looks a little bit different because we haven't all paid yet. So what happens here is you can pay at this straight away, or sorry, is that someone asking me a question, or do they just have?
Can't see who's talking.
No, okay. Not to worry. Okay, so what yeah. So
There's some background noise. Has someone got a telephone conversation going on in the background?
Sorry, Glenda, I think that's me, Sally Delaney, I have to confess. I've got a problem with my computer, and I thought I was on mute, and I'm not, obviously.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, if
So
you just
I'm right now. Yeah, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry.
okay, no problem. Okay. Yes. So when you do an entry, so actually, so let's actually just, sorry, we will. If I did do an entry, where are we? Yeah. So sorry, I'm just going to go back and redo this. Okay, so this is where we were. If we do an entry and we put somebody else in and we're not going to pay, I have these two options, save and pay later or confirm and pay now. I confirm and pay now. That will allow me to put in card details, and this is in a test area. So I think this is looking at a test site, so this isn't real money. If I was to do that, there we go. So basically I just put in card details and I made a payment, and that's then showing the entry that's gone through. So if I go back to my dashboard, you can see the entry. Sorry. So, like I say, some people claim that you always have to put money into MyABF first. No, you don't. You might choose to do that, though, and the reason you might choose to do that is just for convenience. So that if I go to this bridge credits page here and I can put money in up front if I wish to do so. It can be quite convenient to do that because let's think if you're going to put in several entries for yourself or for other people, you don't really want to then have to come and make a card payment each time. So if I was to put in money up front that just sits in this bridge credits account, which is really just like a little bank account, if I do that and I then come and do a payment for an entry, it will just immediately use that money and I won't need to then go and put money in each time. So you'll see what happened here. We did use for this fantasy bridge club, we did an entry and it's effectively put money in and used it. And so on my dashboard, it's now showing these entries that are sitting there. Okay. Right. So when you do make a payment for an entry online, it will basically go through just pretty straightforward. And when you put card details in, you can make a payment that way. And like I say, we at the ABF do not ever see or store any card details for any player at any stage. Okay. So sorry, let me just come back. So we're now back in, I guess, the real world, as in the live MyABF site. And so this is me. So if I want to make payments for entries, I could do it at the time I put the entry in, as we saw just then. But if I chose to come back and pay for it later, that's fine. It will show that I've got unpaid entries sitting here. If I then click pay now, it'll take me to this sort of page that shows I've got pending payments for another entry for events, in this case, Summer Festival next year. Might be others as well. And I can click pay now with bridge credits, and that will then do that payment there and then. So that's one way of making a payment. There are, however, several. So if I was to, if I was to do this, that will then pay for any event that I happen to have entered but not yet paid for. But you might not yet want to do that because, okay, you might want to pay for your upcoming Congress next week, but you don't want to pay for an event in 3 months' time that you've entered but not yet paid for. So you do have a fair bit of flexibility. So here, this route is a shortcut way of paying for all your future entries in one go. But we saw here, I've got a couple of things coming up in this case, and I might not want to pay for all of them yet. So if I click on the event, and we got to this one. Now this is, in this case, Canberra next year. And we've set up here. Now, annoyingly, this particular event organizer didn't think to create an amount that was divisible by 6 and by 4. So you've got this sort of somewhat weird amount, but that's fine. More importantly, you have the options. You can see a couple of people have paid, but others haven't. You have this button here, pay now, using your bridge credits. So you do have the ability to come into the entry, edit the entry, and you can then make a payment either for yourself or for your partner or for other people or for everyone in the event. So this, if you've created an event entry but you didn't pay for it at the time, you can then come back and do it here. Also, we saw when we did an entry that we could not necessarily pay for ourselves, but other people could come. We didn't want to pay for everybody. We only paid for ourselves. So if somebody else has done that for you and you're sitting there now and you do want to come in, you then come and see this event entry and you can make a payment that way. So you can then click pay and it will just pay. You can then pay for yourself, but you don't, or everybody else. So that's another way of doing this. So there are different ways of making payments.
Excuse me, Julian. It's Sue Norton from Brisbane. I have a question
Yeah.
in relation to this. When you pay or don't pay, an email is generated automatically, or does the convener need to do that?
No. So when you do all of this, an email will automatically get generated and will get sent through. So no, you don't have to do that yourself at all. So as an event organizer, you will see emails for people, or you'll see that emails. Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah. So yeah, as an event organizer, you will get sent assorted different emails, some of which you may want, others of which you can choose to suppress if you don't want them all. But yeah. But if we went to, the main calendar, so this was everything. So you can see we got all these different types of events. So say we can narrow this back down to our different.
Hannah, hop down. Good boy. Good boy.
Do ABF take a fraction of the cost or the price to handle all the money before they pass it on to other people?
Sorry, what was that? Sorry.
Does the ABF take a commission on the payments, or do they hand all the money on to the organisers?
I wouldn't really call it commission, but yeah. So what happens is that us as a player, we put money in and we pay everything. Yeah. But so when we later make a settlement to a tournament that has done all this stuff, then that there is a 2% withhold. That 2% is not really by any means covering what the ABF is actually paying for this. So there is a charge, if you like.
Yeah.
But it's effectively covering the transaction costs that Stripe charge us, because we obviously, if somebody puts say $100 in, the ABF does not get 100. The ABF gets about 98.
Thank you.
So yes, there is a charge, but I can assure you the ABF is not making. That's another myth. you will hear people claiming that the ABF's making a fortune out of all of this, and I can categorically assure you that no, we are not. The ABF is just, we're doing this, and if people paying online, there are payment charges made online, and so we're really just covering the fees that Stripe are charging us for handling it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, Dave. Dave Haviett made a suggestion just now, and I've gone blank. Sorry, Dave. What can you just repeat what you?
You want to cover how you can actually enter for an event for a person who's not registered with MyABF?
Right. Okay. Yeah. So, what?
Do you have a club login there or not?
Sorry, say that again. If club.
Do you have a club admin login there?
Yeah, sort of. So as a club, well, what does tend to happen is that not everyone is registered on MyABF, and you might want to then enter or bring somebody in that isn't set up on MyABF. Yeah, so I mean, I guess we're starting sort of.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that it's something that like an event organizer or a club organizer might want to be able to do. But yeah. Yeah, so I mean, we do have, so there's club administration here all the time. So yeah, like if let's say, so yeah, I mean, this is this is an area that not everyone would always see, but this is something like, as a club, you get to see, you can set up members, contacts, details.
Don't do it. I've taken you beyond the scope of the meeting.
Yeah. So I think, this is probably, we're going a bit overboard on that one, aren't we? Yeah. So, but yeah, so for entering an event, or entering and paying for an event, let me just get back. Sorry, let me skip back here. Yeah. So, in our event here, so yeah, when we wanted to do an entry for a team, let's say, and so this is something. So if you are a tournament organizer, then this is where you might have a teammate or other people set up, and you can add other people. So you can add me. So this is where what you find is that one of the things is that to enter or to be included or added as an entrant in this, you do need to then have been logged, or you do need to be logged in. And so that's why you want to sort of get people to sign. You want to sign up.
The only other one that I think is worth mentioning, Julian, is that on the ABF website where you find the support files, so the instruction files.
Yes, yes, very true. Thank you. Yes, sorry, I did indeed mean to include that, and I had forgotten. So thank you, Dave. Yeah. Yeah. So on the main ABF website, under the members area, well, there's a sort of different ways you can get to it, actually. If I was to go, yeah, within MyABF, there's a support area. There is a support screen here, and it shows contact support or view additional MyABF resources. But the other way of doing it, yeah, in the main ABF website, under members, there's this whole area, MyABF resources. And in there, if I click on that, it takes me to a page. This is just a home page, but then, yeah, we've got sections for players, clubs, and tournament organizers. As players, yeah, so there is a vast array of support material, and there are all these different sort of guides or how-to guides. There are also videos as well. So yeah, if you can stand listening to me or watching me, because most of the ones that I've created. But yeah, so for example, the sign up. How do I sign up? This is basically what we stepped through at the beginning here. We logged in. We initially put in the ABF number. We created an email address and a password. We went through the sign up process and this activate account, and then that was it. Your account was active, and we stepped through having a look at various things. So yeah, how to sign up. The other really common one is how to reset your password. So yeah, you've forgotten your password or somebody else set it up for you and you didn't ever know it. So yeah, this is when you reset your password, you get a login here, or you get a screen here, reset password, and that's where you do want to click in, and that's where one of the few times where you do want to type in an email address as opposed to your ABF number. You put in your email, you click reset, and you'll get an email address. Oh, sorry, you'll get an email sent to your inbox, and that's where you can then reset your password, and it'll give you the ability to create a new password. And so, so this is where you can obviously, and this is where you as an organizer may be able to help do this for other people as well. When you get a new password. But in all honesty, what I find, if you are using your own computer, your phone, your iPad, whatever it might be, you might as well just stay logged in. You don't really need to log out of MyABF. I mean, I'm logged in almost constantly, obviously, because I'm doing stuff. So it's entirely up to you, but you don't really need to log in and out all the time. You can just stay logged in, and that's really quite straightforward once you do that. But yeah, so this is the process for resetting a password, but you can just stay logged in. And yeah, so there's a whole host of different ones here: browse calendar, enter pay for congresses, blah 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 blah. There's an awful lot of information here. Like I said, there are clubs that run or offer payment online via MyABF for the club session, just for your table money. If you or your club is doing that, then there's different options here as well. But yeah, so yeah, there is a lot of guidance available for the system. and yeah, then there's assistance for clubs. There's assistance for tournament organisers as well. But the main stuff is probably just for clubs. So yeah, so that's a good idea. So yeah, no, thanks, Dave. I had meant to mention that, and I had forgotten. So yeah. Are there any other questions? It's 7 o'clock. So yeah, we probably don't want to go much longer, do we? I'm guessing.
No, I don't want to go. Hi, Julie. It's Sue again. I have one question in relation to the email address and the people who are of the vintage, or they don't want to give the club an email address. If the club uses a generic email and a generic password, can we put on a number of people in that using that same password and that same email address as registered users?
Oh yeah. Like I say, the unique feature or the unique thing for each individual MyABF account is the ABF number, not the email. So yeah. So you can, and quite a few clubs do, use just a generic email address and
common password.
Correct, yes. So yeah, you can do that certainly, and several clubs do. But like I say, if you do that, then if you are setting up accounts for players, then we do ask that you tend to, if you do, or you are setting up accounts for players, then it is helpful if you do give them access and you do give them, if they do have their email rather than yours. Purely because if you come, like I said at the start, if 6 months later somebody wants to set up or someone wants to reset the password, or they want to log in and they've long since forgotten their email address, then it's a lot better if you actually have your own sitting there.
Thank you.
But certainly, you can use multiple people can have the same email address sitting there. It's just that, if you do have several people signed up or several people using the same email address, then obviously not everyone can log into MyABF using that email address, and that's why we suggest log in using the ABF number, because that is unique.
We'd only offer it basically to people who haven't given the club their email address, don't want to give the club email address, or don't want to join the technological age. Yeah, that's okay. Thank you.
Sure. Cool. Okay.
Okay, I think we need to wrap it up. We're just at the hour. I'm thinking about the recording.
Yeah, no worries.
So thank you everyone for joining. Just bear in mind there will be a recording on the Bridge New South Wales website, so you can watch it and refresh yourself on bits and pieces of the presentation. You can also show it to other people, and also bear in mind the very valuable how-to guides that are on the ABF website that are also very easy to use when signing up or helping people to sign up. So thank you very much for your participation, and I'll see you at a congress sometime. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Glenda. Thank you.